We're just on the cusp of heading into June, the end of the financial year, and I just want to give you a very quick briefing on the executive market because what I'm seeing is wide scale redundancies and corporate restructures in that mid to senior level of the businesses. You might have noticed in the press recently, Telstra released nearly 3,000 executives to do with the shift towards artificial intelligence. This is happening across the board in all major organisations that I'm encountering, and there's a lot more very senior executives operating in the C-suite that are actually being made redundant than we've ever seen before. So there's a lot of corporate restructuring. Organisations, even ones that are doing relatively well, they're trimming the fat, they're reorganising departments, they're releasing departments, they're embracing artificial intelligence into their work processes, and you're starting to see executives be released. So in my opinion, what this means is regardless of where you sit in the market today, you must have your game plan on. You must have a plan, B and C. You must have your career pathway mapped out so that you understand what the alternatives look like, and potentially you've got yourself set up that you have your multiple sources of income. You're approaching things now like a career portfolio versus the one source of employment. You have to realistically say to yourself, well, look, if I lost this job and I was out of work for 6 to 12 months, how would I cope? Do I have the financial reserves to carry me through? Do I have the business networks in place to enable me to find a new opportunity? Increasingly, when this market starts to sort of, flatten out and we've got the redundancies happening, we've got the corporate restructures happening, the advertised market is flooded with unemployed executives trying to secure a new home. And, what you're seeing on LinkedIn, for example, you see the ad go up, it gets flooded with applicants, the ad goes down, they stop taking applicants because they get hundreds of applicants within a few hours of putting the ad up. And they're not getting the right candidates in many cases, but they're getting flooded with the amount of people that are available in the market that are unemployed. And so you really have to be aware that now the game has shifted. And so if you're trying to just apply for jobs on Seek and LinkedIn, you're going to find it incredibly difficult to secure new employment. So if you've been made redundant and you've been out of work for a little while, you've got to really get your hustle on. You've got to leverage off your business networks. Now, if you don't have networks, that's going to be really hard. So if you're happily employed today, my strong advice is have a look at your business networks. Are you doing enough? Are you putting in the hard yards to build up those external networks? Are you working towards getting external board seats or external work activity that could generate income for you? Do you have a side e-commerce business? Do you have a side business hustle? How would your household cope if one of you lost your income? So a lot of households are based on two incomes. They're critical. They're just keeping their head above water at two incomes. What happens if one income disappears? So just thinking about the strategies that you can employ now. So my personal view is it's going to get very rocky in the second half of the year. I'm hearing a lot of warning signs. The business insolvencies are at the highest level ever, and that's including GFC. So a lot of businesses going to the wall. This has a flow-on effect. So every time you have another business goes into liquidation, that's a whole team of staff that now are out of work. In the capital cities, you really start to see it. And then you overlay that with the cost of living pressures. People who were living the high life could suddenly be in a very precarious situation very quickly. So take a look at your household, take a look at your household budget, get your house in order, eliminate debt, try wherever possible to be very, very conservative. Don't go and buy the fancy new cars. This is the time to really consolidate, and particularly with your own skill set, look at how you can commercialize that. And I'm afraid to say a lot of executives are going to have to pivot dramatically in terms of their career pathways. In the next 2 years, we are going to see every company review every work process and see how they can apply artificial intelligence to that work process. And I can tell you what the end result is going to be. It's going to be job losses. I am absolutely convinced that we're going to see the biggest fundamental shift in employment landscapes in the next 2 years. And most people are not even remotely prepared for this, and they're not prepared to pivot and go into different industries or retrain or recalibrate and really look at different opportunities. So my core advice is we're in for a bumpy ride. I think there's a lot of things to happen on the global stage in the months ahead. I think June could be very, very interesting. I think there could be some interesting world events that might create some challenges in the Australian economy. We know the Australian economy is hurting. We know a lot of businesses are hurting, and I'm seeing it every day. I'm at the coalface. I'm talking to people. I've got dozens and dozens and dozens of candidates on my books who have been made redundant that normally would never be in this scenario. So, it's giving me the clues as to what's really going on in the businesses. So, take stock. Unfortunately, this is a slightly negative message, but I think it's an important message. And if it brings, one or two of you into awareness that I've got to think my game plan through here. And if you're, securely employed, fabulous, but don't ever assume that that's a given forever. Have a backup plan. Pop into my diary, have a complimentary career assessment. Let's have a look at what else is possible. Love to speak with you and chart the course for the future ahead. It's going to be interesting. There's always opportunities. There'll always be a silver lining, but you've got to put the planning in place now. I think, no longer can we afford to just coast along and see what happens. I think get on the front foot, put your proper career plans in place so that you will be secure and you can thrive in the new paradigm that we're going to be facing.